G'day guys and welcome to today's video. My name's Danny Bird. I'm a PGA professional based here at the Currabrook Golf Club in southeast Queensland, Australia. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through how to play that nice tidy draw shot with your irons time and time again. Okay, so the number one mistake I see players make, and they do it regularly and it's just crazy, incorrect ball position. Now I see some funky stuff here on the tee box. I see golf balls way too far back, way too far forward. I'm going to use my hands to do this. I'm going to do, guys, let's not complicate it. We want a simple, straightforward, uncomplicated way to play the shot with the least amount of manipulations required to do so. The more moving parts we have, the harder it is to be consistent and to execute this shot well. So I'm going to demonstrate using my setup template. This is a training aid that's going to tell you where to position the golf ball for every single club in your bag. So there's no more guesswork. So we're going to place this on the ground, and you'll see here my blue alignment stick is positioned in line with my 7-iron because that's the club I'm going to use for this demonstration. Now you'll notice here that when I get into my address position, that the 7-iron position is forward of center, and if I were to take my left hand here at address and I were to lower it down, it should be touching the inside of my left thigh. So that's a great way to get ourselves started. So a neutral ball position to be able to hit this shot. Once we get our ball position, the next mistake I see, and it's a crazy one, is guys ripping their trail foot back, because we don't need to do that to hit a controlled, consistent draw. All that we tend to see when this happens is that players get the club too far inside, they get trapped and stuck, and they just end up hitting high blocks out to the right, which are not actually high blocks. The club's traveling along the line of their feet and they just hit the ball straight, but it's just a straight block out to the right. So we're going to be setting ourselves up very, very neutral. Feet are going to be running parallel to our target line. The only difference being is that our target line won't be the flag, because we're not hitting a push draw. Our target line will be 2 or 3 paces to the right of the flag, which means that our feet are running parallel to our club face, which would be our feet maybe pointing just ever so slightly left of the flag. Next we have club face manipulation. Again, I see players trying to hook the face in on the way back, take loft off of the club. This isn't going to create a consistent and repeatable outcome. What we tend to see when players do this is two things occur. One of two things, I should say. Number one is that they're going to reorientate the loft on the club. So they take it off at address and in the backswing. But if I continue that motion through the hitting area, there's so little loft on the club that my brain knows, my subconscious knows that that isn't how we play the shot. We're not going to get the desired outcome. And so at the last moment, players back up and reorientate to put loft on the club, often catching the ground and hitting it heavy. We want to avoid that. If we don't do those things, we just end up having the club coming down so close that we don't draw it, we just hit a huge snap hook. And again, that's not going to create that consistent, repeatable, dependable outcome that we're looking for. And then the final mistake that I'm going to touch upon in today's video that I often see is the overactive nature of the right hand. Watching players as they're trying to hit this golf shot, throwing their right hand at the club, turning that face far too much. Now, yes, the right hand is going to be active, but it's dependent on the club path, the direction in which the club's traveling, because if I get the club path incorrect, and most players will, the club will work either too neutral, even over the top, and then they're throwing their hands. That's combined with aiming way too far right, over the top, throwing their hands, and they feel like they're hitting that draw. In essence, they're hitting a huge over-the-top pull hook with very little control. So the hands will be active, but we have to reduce how much right hand rotation we have, because too much is a bad thing. Okay, so we've touched upon the key mistakes that we see. Now, as I said at the start of it, I promise you guys, it's a simple way. There's a very simple way to play this shot. It's repeatable, dependable, and easy to do, and doesn't require half of the things you probably think you need to do to hit a draw. So first things first, I'm going to get ourselves set up nice and neutral. Ball position's forward of center. I'm going to take my normal grip. You're not going to see me hook my grip in. I'm not trying anything crazy here. I'm going to take my club ever so slightly, feeling outside on my takeaway. okay? You'll see that I'm gonna work my club head slightly outside. And the reason being is I want to get to the top of my backswing and have some room to let the club drop underneath. Want to avoid getting that club too far round, because if I get too far inside, I'm more likely to actually orientate the club back over the top to get to the golf ball. So we're going to start by creating some space on the takeaway and allowing ourselves some room to let this club drop inwards on the way down. That's important. You'll also notice that I tend to have a little bit of a lateral movement. And again, this creates some space for me and it enables me and allows me to feel like I'm going to work underneath on the way down and still stay back behind the golf ball. So that's a personal preference. You don't have to do that to hit the draw shot. I just like to do that. I like to feel like a little bit of lateral movement helps me get behind the ball. And from here, I'm able to attack keeping backwards, but I can also get my club path working a little bit better. So talking about club path, guys, I've got a couple of alignment sticks here to demonstrate this next part for you. So we want the club path to be coming from an inward to outward position. That's the first part of hitting a draw. Think about that top hand tennis shot. We're gonna get the golf ball spinning in that same direction. The club needs to be approaching from behind the body line and working out to the right-hand side of target. We're gonna demonstrate this with the yellow alignment stick here. So I'm going to position the alignment stick out to the right-hand side of the target. So this is gonna encourage me to feel like I'm gonna swing the club out this way. Secondly, we need to have the club face closed to that target line. So what I mean by that is, as my club's traveling this way, my club face actually needs to still be pointing closer to the target line. Now it will point slightly right because we're aiming slightly right, but this we're going to do by having an alignment stick out in front of us for the direction that I would like to see the club face grooves, the club face at point of contact. So you'll see here, I'm going to be trying to work the club down along the yellow line with the club face working down this red line here. So if all those things work out together, the ball should start at the blue flag and draw over. And yes, we do have a little bit of wind, so it's probably going to turn over a little bit further left to right than it would traditionally. If you want to hit that draw shot consistently well, we want that right elbow to feel like it's going to work in towards the rib cage on the downswing here. And then from there, we're in a position that I can simply push the club, feeling like it's going out to the right, orientate my grooves down the red line, which is going to give me that nice tidy draw shot, which I'm going to demonstrate to you guys right now. So as you can see there, club's working from the inside, pushing out to the right, grooves pointing down that red line. The ball starts out slightly right of the blue flag, draws over the top, just to the left-hand side of the red flag, and we get that nice tidy draw. Okay, so we're going to train to hit that draw shot. Now, it's a very, very simple drill to do. You may have seen it many, many times, but I'm going to ask you to set your station up a little bit like what we've got here. If you have your setup template, use a setup template. If you don't, you're going to probably need 4 or 5 alignment sticks. So we have our crosshairs for our alignment and ball position. We have our swing path. Now this is excessive. The yellow line's quite excessive for the shot we're trying to hit, but the red line demonstrating the direction in which the club face needs to point. Next thing we're going to do is going to pace out 1 meter behind, and then where the golf ball's positioned now, going to place it in line with the middle of our foot. So you can see there I've drawn a line across the middle of my foot here. I'm then going to be placing an alignment stick on the outside of my right foot on the big toe there. I'm going to angle it at the same point as my 7-iron, so the same angle as my 7-iron lie angle here. I'm going to position that into the ground. Double check that they're pretty much spot on. Excellent. Now, the feeling we're going to be trying to generate here is this training is I'm actually going to get you guys to work the club outside, okay? Now, guys, it's a training drill. It's not something we should be doing all the time. It's got a purpose, and we only really need to do it until we can start to see the club working underneath, and then we don't worry so much about utilizing this. We would go back and touch upon it if we were struggling to get that draw shot again. So, as an exaggerated feeling, I'm going to work the club outside the white line, and as I get to the top, I have no choice but to work the club underneath, because if I work the club over the top here, I'm going to end up clearing the top of the alignment stick with my golf club, slam it into it, and probably make some serious damage to the alignment stick itself, and I'm certainly not going to be able to hit the golf ball well. So we would start off with some practice swings, out, underneath, trace down the line. We might then get you guys to tee the ball up, half speed out and around, and then we're going to work up to full speed. So to demonstrate here, normal setup position, I'm going to try to go out, drop it under, and still try and hit that draw shot. The thing to understand, and I will stress this with a lot of players, you don't have to hit the ball great whilst you're using a training drill. The whole purpose is we're trying to change a movement. It's okay to hit the golf ball poorly. Over time, utilising this drill, you will get better with it there, but the goal is really to hit it great when it's not here. And just over time, with work, move that right elbow into the correct spot, change that club path direction, and control that club face. So quick to correct, quick to change, and we do see the shot outcome that we want. Guys, this particular drill, fan favorite, one of my things I ask players to do that I work with in person who want to learn to hit that draw. Don't complicate the setup. Don't complicate the process of club movement. Don't complicate the club face control. Sit yourself on the alignment stick behind you, work the club to feel like it's going slightly out, create that space, work underneath, trace the yellow line. Club must be working from inward to outward. Club face must be close to that swing direction, and you're going to see the golf ball draw time and time again. It's not difficult, it's not crazy, but it does require a little bit of work. Guys, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch today's video. If you have found it helpful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date to all my videos as and when they release. And please, if you know a golfer that needs this help, share it with them. Until next time, happy golfing.